Hi, everybody. Welcome to Lost in Literature channel. Happy to see you here, and I'm going to do my first take on poetry. I would like to deal with Dust of Snow by Robert Frost today. I think it's a beautiful poem, very, very snappy, short, and quite subtly dramatic, I must say. And it's quite a puzzle in the beginning, when we read it. So let me just begin by reading the poem to you. Dust of Snow. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of the day I had rued. Lovely, isn't it? Short, like I promised you, and really very, very snappy. The first thing you notice about the poem is how short it is. Just 8 lines. And the poet has used a kind of literary device. Yeah, they're always using these devices, these so-called techniques to make the poem, be layered in meaning. So here we have enjambment. And this is basically a sentence that begins and goes on without stopping through the stanzas. And here we have 2 stanzas just, running from line to line. And in these stanzas, in these 2 stanzas, the poet has presented a very sharp image of a crow just flying randomly and landing on a branch of the hemlock tree. And it just so happened the poet was standing under it purely by chance because he was taking a walk that morning, and the crow ends up dislodging powdery snow on him. Hence the title, The Dust of Snow. And we can picture, the kind of freshly falling snow. The landscape is a winter one, purely white. And against that, you have the dark branches of the hemlock tree and the crow coming abruptly and perching on a branch, shaking the snow on the poet. Now, what happens then? The cold, icy snow falling on the poet, it just kind of wakes him up. It's like a wake-up call. He's already down in dumps. And when the snow falls on him, it's very epiphanic. He kind of realizes that nothing is in his hands. A crow is an annoying bird, and who can control where it's going to sit? Right? Similarly, the poet suddenly realizes that all the things that happen in life cannot be controlled by the individual. It is just a chance happening, an unplanned event. And it's entirely up to the individual to react in a suitable manner and not given to depression. Because the only way you can handle even a bad situation is when you keep your presence of mind and you're cool and you take steps to deal with it. And that is exactly what happens in the second stanza. the shock of the snow, cold, chilling snow falling on him, wakes him up. In fact, it pulls him out, throws him out of his sad mood. And I can well imagine him laughing and saying to himself, "Oh, come on, silly crow. Now, why did you do that?" And his presence of mind, his humor is restored. And he feels that the crow has really saved him from the misery that he was feeling. The other thing that's very noticeable in this poem is the way he has compressed the whole event into these 8 lines. And apart from that, he has also presented the crow, which is actually considered to be a bird of ill omen. And then, of course, the hemlock tree is poisonous. That was the poison that was offered to him, offered to Socrates, and he died. So, hemlock and the crow, they are both harbingers of evil. Okay? So, why has he used these two superstitious elements in a poem that was supposed to inculcate, arouse a feeling of positivity in us? It was supposed to jerk us out of our negativity. Well, for the simple reason, all of us have these illogical superstitions and we allow them to rule us. For instance, the crow here is a bird that symbolizes death, depression, loss. Same with hemlock. So that's how we consider it. And when the crow sat on the branch and happened to shake some snow on the poet, he could well have considered it as some kind of an ill omen, considering he was depressed. But he doesn't do that. Instead, it evokes a positive feeling in him because it makes him realize this little act, it makes him realize that there is no point being depressed. He had to handle the situation. He had to find solutions for it. And he would do it because now he was calmer in spirit. And so it's a good lesson for us from Robert Frost, who's the poet here, that we should not think too much of these superstitions. Another thing I liked about this poem was the imagery that the poet has used, and thereby the symbols. All right? Talking about images, first of all, he presents a snow-laden tree, and the surroundings are white. Okay, the landscape is white, and against it, you have the tree, and you have this jet black crow flying and sitting on the tree. The image evoked in the mind is absolutely striking. Black versus white. Black standing for what could be something very negative, and the white standing more like an angel of hope. Right? So this is how imagery works in poems. It adds layers to meanings, and therefore it can be very, very interesting. And the poet has used symbols too in this very effective manner. The white snow representing what's good, and the black crow, which is supposed to be evil, but the poet doesn't look at it that way. So these are mostly the three poetic devices that the poet has used: enjambment, imagery, and symbols. And I think he has just written a fabulous poem. And our takeaway from this poem would be to stop being superstitious every time some misfortune lands on us. Instead, let's still keep our calm, look for positivity, find solutions to our problem. Well, I found this poem one heck of a creation. I hope you enjoyed it too. Thank you and see you next time.